Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been seeing all your comments on TikTok asking me for reviews analysis for this one, so today, it's finally happening. But before we get into that, don't forget to check this exclusive discount for it. You can find the link in both the video description and the top comment below. Now let's not delay any further and jump right into the details.
Let's start by delving into the insights shared by our first reviewer.
This reviewer decided to upgrade their home network after their previous router had become a constant headache, with firmware updates frequently causing it to fail and require daily reboots. Seeking reliability, they were drawn to this new router because of its brand's excellent reputation for consistent software support and a more generous warranty period. The promise of upgrading to a newer Wi-Fi standard for their modern devices was also a significant factor in their decision. However, the initial setup process proved to be unexpectedly complicated. A specific network setting related to the device's MAC address wasn't straightforward to configure during the initial installation. This led to an internet connection failure that required digging through advanced settings and a lengthy call with their internet service provider to resolve what was initially flagged as a security issue on their account. Once online, the performance was a mixed bag. The biggest disappointment for this client was the signal range. Surprisingly, their much older router had provided better coverage throughout their large home. With this new device, the signal was weak or non-existent in the farthest corners, a problem that hadn't existed before. They had to install a separate Wi-Fi extender to achieve the same level of coverage they previously had. Despite the range issues, our reviewer found a lot to love, particularly the management interface. They described both the web portal and the smartphone app as fantastic and far superior to the slow and frustrating system of their old unit. Ultimately, they feel this router is a solid choice for someone in a small to medium-sized home who values a great user interface and reliable software. For larger spaces, however, they would strongly suggest considering a mesh network system instead to ensure consistent coverage without the need for extra hardware.
Cool. Let's uncover what our next reviewer has to say.
This reviewer is absolutely blown away by the performance of this new router, describing it as genuinely awesome and joking that it must be powered by some kind of alien technology. Our client found it to be more than capable for their needs, starting with a flawless setup process. While some advanced configuration choices required a few reboots, the device's powerful multi-core processor handled them quickly and without issue. What really stood out was its raw power and versatility. This client notes that the router offers an incredible number of configurable attributes, many of which were absent on other models they had considered. In terms of capability, they found it rivals a professional-grade unit at their workplace, but with a key advantage. This router delivers full bandwidth and throughput to every port, even with all its security features activated. They are getting connection rates to their laptop that far exceed their internet plan, and browser speed tests confirm these impressive numbers, solving the common frustration of not receiving the speeds one pays for. Our reviewer also shared a word of caution based on their experience. They initially tried to save a little money by purchasing a refurbished version of this same device and found it to be a complete nightmare. That unit was maddening to configure and caused numerous problems with their servers and remote connections. While the seller was very helpful with the return and refund process, the experience was a stark contrast to the perfection of the new unit. The small cost saving was simply not worth the immense frustration, leading them to conclude that the brand new version of this router is an absolute monster that delivers on every promise.
Awesome. Let's hear what our next reviewer has to share about their experience.
This reviewer recently swapped out their entire network setup and decided to give this router a try, moving away from a different brand. Setting it up was a breeze. The auto configuration did its job perfectly, but you also have the option to tweak things manually if you prefer. There's just one tiny hiccup. When assigning names to your wireless channels, it seems to default to giving the 2.4 and 5 GHz bands the same name, even when you're trying to set them up manually. This client had to manually correct that to have distinct names for each band. Once you get used to the web interface, it's actually pretty great. The options are generally laid out in a logical and easy to understand way. All the advanced tools like WAN, LAN, wireless settings, guest network options, and QoS controls are easy to find. What this client liked most about the web interface is how easy it is to make changes. It never froze, failed to respond, or had trouble saving the settings changes. The 2.4 GHz band has excellent signal strength throughout our reviewer's two-story home, which is around 2100 SQ. FT. The 5 GHz band isn't anything extraordinary, but it's certainly not bad. All devices using the 5 GHz band, including TVs, laptops, tablets, and phones, were able to connect and maintain a stable signal throughout the house. Finally, this client didn't get this router for its looks, but rather for its potential performance and ability to handle a lot of devices at once. It manages that workload well. As long as they can game on their wired PC while the wife or grandkids are streaming movies, videos, and YouTube, everyone's happy. So far, no complaints on that front.
That's it for this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Appreciate you watching. See you next time.